good, everybody? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the CephaloPod. My name is Sky, and boy, this team is just driving me up a goddamn wall. Throughout the month of January, there has been a lot of losing. This whole of last week was just a complete exercise in frustration. They lost to the Devils in a very annoying, very avoidable fashion. They played the Columbus Blue Jackets and did not do very well. They had a very, very poor time playing them. And then, you know what? They had a really bad first period against the Buffalo Sabres. Really bad. But you know what? They looked at that game and said, no, we're not going to be that team anymore. They had an excellent middle frame, excellent 20 minutes in the Buffalo game, and then they built upon that. And they ended up winning that game 6-2. Now, admittedly, they're on a back-to-back, so it's going to be a tough turnaround no matter what they do. And thankfully, Buffalo and Detroit aren't terribly far from one another, so they get right back on the plane, and they head to Detroit, where they play maybe the worst game of the season. I'm dead serious. And the crazy thing is, almost all of it was decided within the first 20 minutes. Very rarely is a game decided in its first 20 minutes. This is the NHL. This is the Seattle Kraken, the team that has gone on record as being like, oh, you never know, because we have the most multi-goal comebacks of any team in the NHL. We've had 6 of them. You can't count us out. Or that's what it felt like. That's what they want to believe. The reality is, that 20 minutes to start Sunday's game was one of the most disorganized, one of the most uncompetitive periods I've seen from them in a while. And remember, I've been here since the beginning. I know what uncompetitive Kraken hockey looks like. There's no word for it. The crazy thing is, first 5-6 minutes of the game, perfectly fine. They were trading chances back and forth. They were, able to keep the puck away from their goaltender. They were doing what they were supposed to. And then the defense just fell apart. Everything that you're not supposed to do. They lost players. Oh my God, did they lose players throughout that game, but especially that first period. They were out of position frequently. They lost their men in coverage. They got muscled off the puck in their own end. They could not leave their own end when they did get it, and when they turned the puck over, they were slow. They were really slow for a team that has otherwise been, at the very least, interested in pushing the puck forward. The exemplar goal for what I think happened here were both Kane goals. But the first one just sort of exemplified all of it. All of it. Just all of it. The Red Wings get the puck, they transition up the ice. It's all on one side of the ice. It's all on the left side. Tolvanen, right, and I believe it was Adam Larsson, all converge on Copp. All of them. All 3 of them. There was only one player back with their goaltender. But they're not converging as hard as they can. There is this big wide lane that he can thread the puck through. So what do you think he does? Andrew Copp throws it through, gives it to Gustafsson, and now Gustafsson has 2 options. He can either give it to Rasmussen for a one-timer, or he can feed Patrick Kane backdoor. Which of course he chooses Patrick Kane backdoor. And of course it goes in. Because there's no way in hell that Joey Daccord or any goaltender was going to be able to survive a 3-on-1 like that. And the entire game was just stuff like that. Marco Kasper's goal wasn't great. JT Compher was able to get his goal by being effectively unmolested in the slot. Alex DeBrincat was completely uncovered on the power play. No one was trying to stop a shot from him. And then they just gave up power play goal after power play goal. Eric Gustafsson got one. Dylan Larkin got one. It took a long time for the Kraken to even put together a shift that looked respectable. And that's just sort of been the story of the last 2 weeks. Their defense is not working. Their defense is not doing what it's supposed to. At one point, it was the half committing. They're able to create body contact, but not imposing body contact, not forcing a play. They are able to get the puck, but they're not able to corral it and get it out of the zone. They're able to block shots, but they never follow up on that. They don't get the puck back. That was what was bothering me back then. Now, against the Devils, against the Red Wings, against the Oilers, they just can't. There is no structure. There is negative structure to it. And every player is responsible for it. Not just the defensive core, which, in my opinion, hasn't been very good this year, but the forwards too. Forwards that I know should be better. Matty Beniers should be better. Shane Wright should be better. Oliver Bjorkstrand should be better. And they just keep running into this problem. It's endlessly frustrating. It's maddening. Because you're sitting there, you already know that because of the way that goaltending works with this team, you're already on kind of a nice edge. Because you know that any old shot might get through. This wasn't exactly a great night for either goaltender. But the thing is that I have seen this team and I have seen these players play a lot better than this. And the fact that they have degenerated to the point, their game has degenerated to the point that they don't even look like they understand defense at the NHL level is, oh boy, that's frustrating. It's scary. Because, this was supposed to be a year where we acknowledged some growth. Even if they didn't go to the playoffs, which is fine. That's that is a pipe dream at this point. Even if they didn't go to the playoffs, we could see some growth. We could see some positive change. And I'm gonna be real, I don't see it. The way that the back check has set itself up, the way that they routinely give up odd man rushes, the way that they don't respect the talent in front of them. Man, you're gonna get killed doing that. So I'm just sitting here frustrated. This team can be better. This team can summon a half-decent effort. And the problem is that a half-decent effort's been almost 2-3 months away. I really thought that once we had moved on from Dave Haxtell's system, which was passive, they were able to get shots in Dave Haxtell's system, but it was passive. It was always in the perimeter of the ice. It wasn't trying to cut to the middle. It wasn't trying to be an active creator of chances. I really thought we were moving on from that. Because I've watched Coachella. Coachella is an active team. They love having the puck. They love transitioning the puck. They love charging up ice and having full control of the game. And when they're on top of the other team's goaltender, they keep hacking away at it until they get their goal. And no Seattle Kraken player that I can think of, aside from maybe Brandon Tanev, aside from maybe Yanni Gourde, has been able to do that. Matty Beniers had a pretty decent chance. Well, the only way out is through. So, upcoming this week, we've got 3 games. One on Tuesday night, which is tonight against the Penguins at 4 p.m. And then they've got a game on Thursday night against the Winnipeg Jets at 5. And they round it all out by coming home to face off against the Kings at 7. Now, I know we're not looking at playoff positioning right now. I know that that's not something that we want to think about, but man, it would be nice if they can at least show a little bit of learning from the experience. Instead of just saying, all right, this is now just a sheer showcase for whomever it is that the market really wants right now. They need to show improvement. They need to show improvement. Otherwise, it is going to get very hard to watch this team in a very short amount of time. Anyway, let's focus on the Pittsburgh Penguins tonight at 4 p.m. Pittsburgh was in a position to potentially stay in a playoff spot finally, make all those moves that Kyle Dubas makes sense, and then they started losing a couple games in a row, and that's a bad place to be, because there's now 3-4 teams that are all within a point of one another, and 6 that are all within 2 points. And all of those teams that are technically out of a playoff spot right now, they are all on very long winning streaks. Or they have just had a winning streak very recently snapped. Pittsburgh's going to come into this game desperate. I mean real desperate. So you got to be able to attack them where they're weakest. You have to attack their goaltending. You have to attack the middle of the ice. Pittsburgh hates their goaltenders, or at the very least, their media hates their goaltenders. You must find a way to break through that defense and score. You need to attack them, not just on these corner attacks. You need to be able to cut into the middle of the ice, all the way into the middle, in order to score on them. And for goodness sake, the first 20 minutes, don't play them like it's an AHL squad. Sidney Crosby is still on that team. And yes, I know Erik Karlsson isn't good at defense, but he's still a really, really good offensive defenseman. As much as people don't want to hear that. Erik Karlsson is still a very good offensive player. Treat them with the respect they deserve, and then apply necessary defensive structures to respect that. Don't put yourself in another hole. Because this is just getting ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. Anyway, this current stretch has been pretty depressing, so why don't we look at how the young boys down in Coachella are doing. Coachella actually finished up a pretty convincing win over the Chicago Wolves 5-2. Coachella Valley is now second in the AHL Pacific Division with a record of 19-12, 1-4. 1-4 being OTLs and shootout losses. Daniel Sprong had a very, very good goal during that game. He kind of played it like he was playing beer hockey. It was very funny to watch, but otherwise, they've got some very interesting players doing some pretty interesting work down there. Leighton Rood has 10 goals and 10 assists in 35 games. Good for him. Yanni Newman has 13 goals and 9 assists, 22 points in 35 games. And Jagger Firkus is sitting pretty with 7 goals, 13 assists, and 20 points in 35 games. There's a little group of guys who are clearly the straws that are stirring the drink for this team, but otherwise, this is a very, very strong team. Ryan Winterton has 19 points. John Hayden, when he's not up in Seattle, has 19 points down there. Logan Morrison has 19 points down there. There's a bunch of players who could probably end this season with about 30 or 40 points, and they're all just kind of clumped together as this group of exceptional goal scoring. I'm very excited for how they're looking down there in Coachella. They're doing an excellent job, and I imagine as the season continues onward, they've got a game against the Silver Knights down in Coachella that they will be playing on Thursday. I'd imagine that they are going to use that as an opportunity to try and hopefully springboard into the top of the AHL Pacific Division. Still need to get a couple of extra wins for that, but I'm pretty impressed with them so far, and I bet you they could probably do it. Congratulations to them. Keep up the good work. Meanwhile, in junior, it's the WHL that happens to be the big place for the Kraken's prospect system. Berkeley Catton has got 54 points with the Spokane Chiefs. Go Chiefs. Oh my goodness, that kid is amazing. I cannot believe that somehow Team Canada wasted him. Tyson Jugnoth with the Portland Winterhawks has the same amount of points, though almost entirely on assists. Both have 54 points in less than 40 games, though Berkeley Catton is a little more efficient with it. He's got 54 in 30. Good stuff from him. Carson Rakoff, another player who was mostly wasted by his home country at the World Juniors, has gotten slowly back into the top 20. He's looking to get back into the top 10 of OHL scoring. He's got 53 points in 30 games. That's good for 23 goals and 30 assists. Clark Caswell of the Swift Current Broncos, another WHL product. If you know where Swift Current is, by the way, you're either a resident or you're lying. But if you happen to be a resident, you've got a very interesting player to watch. He's got 51 points in 36 games, almost all of that assists. He's got 13 goals and 38 assists. Great playmaker there. Andrei Loshko, the Belarusian kid out in the OHL, he's got 50 points in 41 games. Good for him. And we're moving right back to the WHL. Lukas Dragicevic has been an absolute killer for the Prince Albert Raiders. He's got 44 points, almost all of them assists, but that's okay. He's on the back end. Done an excellent job out there. Good for him. I want to give Nathan Villeneuve a little bit of credit. He's had a pretty solid season, 34 points in 31 games. However, there is one thing that he is currently far and away leading all Kraken prospects in, and that is penalty minutes. He has really lived up to what he said he was going to be, which is sort of a pest or someone who's trying to get under the skin of the other team. Very excited for this young man. This guy seems like he's just going to be a real piece of work, and I couldn't be happier for him. Julius Miettinen went back to Everett with a medal at the World Juniors, and he's been just as good as always. He's got 34 points in 30 games. Good for him. And finally, Caden Price and Caden Hamill. Caden Hamill has 25 points in 39 games played, done very well with Everett, with Julius Miettinen. I'm sure both of them will get along famously as they continue their journey. Caden Price just recently got traded from Kelowna, so that now he is out in Lethbridge, Canada. It's interesting to see a player who has played very well. He's got 32 points in 29 games. He just got traded for just so much in the WHL. It's clear that he seemed to have made some sort of impression on Peter Anholt, the guy who everyone is very mad at for Hockey Canada's boondoggle at the World Juniors. But they appear to have traded the sun and the moon for him so that he can play with his team out in Lethbridge. Personally, I don't want the Lethbridge Hurricanes to experience success. I don't feel like Bill Peters ever needs any positive things ever happening to him again. And after this World Juniors, I don't want Peter Anholt to have anything good happen to him ever again. But for the sake of Caden Price, my only hope is that Caden doesn't ask Bill anything. And I mean anything. I just hope he tunes him out and does what he can for his own personal growth, and that the Lethbridge Hurricanes go as far as they deserve to go. They were okay last time I checked. They are not necessarily the best team in the WHL. That's kind of why you make those kind of trades, is to get better quickly. But yeah, I hope that for Caden's sake that he has a good individual season, and I hope that everyone in charge of the Lethbridge Hurricanes has nothing but the bad things in life happen to them. And that's kind of it. I really just kind of wanted to vent my spleen about the defense. I wanted to talk about just how weird things have gotten. Because I've watched this team get better, get worse, get good at some things, and then just completely crap themselves when it came to everything else. It's just so frustrating. So frustrating to watch the Kraken go back and forth with us. I really wish they would pick a lane. I really do wish they would. But anyway, shorter episode, but that's how things are. I've got a very busy week ahead of me, and so do the Kraken. So let's go on ahead and call it there. So, thank you so much for listening. If you liked it, you can go on ahead and subscribe wherever you get your podcast apps. And if you liked it but wanted to see it in written form, go on ahead and take a look over at DavyJonesLockerRoom.com. We've got a wonderful slate of articles. We've got, of course, our previews, recaps, and game threads for those who want to interact with the community while the game's going on. And of course, if you wanted to listen to this but also see my ugly face, you can go on ahead and check out youtube.com. You can look us up at Davy Jones Locker Room for that. You can also find us on most social media at Davy Jones Locker Room on most microblogging platforms, or as Davy Jones LR. That's it for this week. It's a short but sweet episode, and I hope you come back next week as we continue on. Thank you so much for listening. Let's hope that this team does better. My name is Sky. Keep calm. Calmer than I am. post Zoidberg when we win, and as always, go Kraken.